Thank you for listening to Shulchanaruchharav.com.
What blessing should be recited during an earthquake? Anyone who has felt an earthquake cannot describe the emotions that it creates. Excitement, fear, trepidation, uncertainty. It literally shakes a person up, not just physically, but also mentally and emotionally. We will discuss various aspects regarding an earthquake that are found in the Talmud and in the Poskim, especially focusing on the concept of the blessing. It's recorded in the Mishnah Meseches Brachos, page 54a, that upon experiencing or seeing a number of different matters, a bracha is to be recited. And one of those matters listed is Ziva'es. Now, what is Ziva'es? Rashi says, look in the Gemara 59a. The Gemara there brings Rav Katina Amar. He says that Ziva'es is Gaya. What is Gaya? Says Rashi, it means an earthquake, Re'idat Adama. And so is recorded in the Rishonim, and thus it's recorded in Halacha, in the Shulchanaruch, in chapter 227, Halacha 1 in the Mechaber, in the Alter Rebbe, in Seder Birchas Hanenin, chapter 13, Halacha 15, that upon feeling an earthquake, one is required to recite a blessing. Again, this refers to someone who has felt it, not to someone who has simply heard about it, but he actually experienced the shaking of the earth. This blessing is required to be said even if the magnitude of the earthquake was not lethal, was not deadly, and it was just a little shake. Nonetheless, the innate feeling of the earth shaking already requires one to recite a bracha. So write Peiskei Zmanenu, and so is evident from the halacha. Statistically, of the close to 1 million earthquakes estimated that occur per year, only a small percentage can be felt, about 30,000. They have to be above 2.5 magnitude on the Richter scale. And an even smaller fraction causes damage, only about 500, which are above 5.5 magnitude on the Richter scale. Why do the Chachamim establish a blessing to be said over an earthquake? As earthquakes are frightening events which convey a powerful message to the world's inhabitants regarding Hashem's power and control of the earth. So writes Rabbeinu Manayich in Brachos 10:14, and thus we express this recognition by saying the blessing. The Abu Daram and other poskim record that Hashem created these phenomenons in order to shake people up from the current state of affairs and cause them to fear Him, to fear Hashem. The Talmud accords various causes to earthquakes, including number 1, that Hashem drops 2 tears into the sea when He sees the pain of His children in exile, and the crash of these godly tears into the ocean caused the earth to shake. Alternatively, the Gemara brings Hashem claps His hands to relieve His anger, and the sound of the clap causes the earth to shake. Number 3, alternatively, Hashem lets out a groan of anger, and that sound of the groan causes the earth to shake. Number 4, Hashem kicks the heavens to wake up the inhabitants, and it causes the earth to shake. And number 5, Hashem presses His feet under the Kisei HaKavod, and this causes the earth to shake. All in all, we see an earthquake is a divine message from God and is not to be taken lightly and ignored, even if it does not cause any damage, Baruch Hashem. We spoke so much about the blessing. Well, which blessing are you supposed to say? So the Mishnah records you're supposed to say the blessing of Oise, of Shekoichu Gvurase Maliyayla. However, the Gemara in 59a brings the opinion of Rav, as explained in the Rishonim and Tosfos, that in truth you have a choice and you can say either Shekoichu Gvurase Maliyayla or Oise Maisa Bereshis. Either one is fine for an earthquake and you get to choose. Interestingly, in the Shulchanaruch, in the Mechaber, in the Alter Rebbe, and Seder Birchas Hanenin, it states that you should say the blessing of Oisa Maisa Bereshis, and alternatively, if you choose, you can say which seems to imply that the better, more appropriate blessing is Oisa Maisa Bereshis, as explained in Rishonim, that an earthquake can be felt throughout the world. The epicenter sends waves, shock waves, everywhere, and therefore we emphasize Mali Eilam fills the world in the blessing. But nonetheless, ideally you get to choose which blessing to say. Within how much time of the earthquake must the blessing be recited? So certainly while the earthquake is still taking place, sometimes it can be for 10 seconds or more, you can say the bracha. Even after the earthquake has subsided, you can still say the bracha within Kedei Dibur of feeling it. which is approximately 2 to 3 seconds. However, past 2 to 3 seconds, we enter into a halachic debate that's recorded regarding seeing and hearing thunder and lightning, of which the final ruling is, according to the Alter Rebbe, Safik Brachas Lahakel, and therefore you would say the blessing without Hashem's name, meaning you would say Baruch Oisa Maisa Vereshis or Baruch Shekeichu Vrasam Aliyayim. So always make sure if you feel an earthquake and you're all excited, first say the blessing right away, as within 2-3 seconds after it ends, the blessing becomes obsolete. Same would apply if you're in the bathroom. By the time you get out, you can't say a blessing in the bathroom. By the time you get out, 2 to 3 seconds pass, you say it without Hashem's name, as we stated earlier. How often can the blessing over an earthquake be said? As we know, scientifically and through experience, earthquakes don't come one at a time, but they usually come with a before and after shock, either the same day or within a several day period. So the Poskim record, so is brought Marim Chaviv, Tshuva 34, Yad Arim, Birkei Yosef, Sharei Tshuva, Chesed La'alofim, Kaf HaChaim, and other Poskim, that so long as you have not removed your mind from the previous earthquake, and you're still thinking about it, and the new quake comes, you don't say a new bracha. But if you've already removed your mind from the previous earthquake, and when it comes again, it's like a shock, it's unexpected, then a new blessing is to be recited, seemingly even on the very same day. So if a small earthquake occurred, you didn't make much of it, a few hours passed, and then another one occurred, you would say a second blessing. However, if personal damage was caused, or it caused great devastation on a wide scale, and you're thinking about it for days, then obviously a new blessing would not be recited. We find a very interesting skula recorded in the Sefer of the Yavitz Moruk Tzia, chapter 227, the name of Sefer Yuchsin. A skula to stop an earthquake as it is occurring. He brings the pasuk from Yeshaya Hanavi, which states V'karazel Zevi Yomer, and then it states the next pasuk regarding the shaking Yenu'u, the doorposts of the Heichel, as explained in the Mefarshim. And from here the Yavitz explains that it's coming to teach us that if you feel shaking of the earth, an earthquake, right away recite the following pasuk 3 times, and the earthquake will cease. Which pasuk, V'karazel Zevi Yomar, Kadesh, 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 Hashem Tzvais, Molech Ha'aretz Kevede, which we say in Kedusha. Say this 3 times, and you will save the earth from shaking. Historically, earthquakes have hit the cities of Jerusalem and Tzfas. Regarding Jerusalem earthquakes, we have a Jerusalem tradition recorded in the Sefer Pri Adama, Kaf HaChaim, and others, that earthquakes will never harm or damage inhabitants in Yerushalayim. In fact, in the year 1927, 5687, Tafresh Pei Zayin, on the 11th of Tammuz, a great earthquake occurred in Yerushalayim and its surrounding areas. And great miracles and wonders were seen while walls and buildings collapsed in the face of the inhabitants. No one in Jerusalem was injured. In contrast to the surrounding Gentile villages, did not share the same fate as they suffered many casualties. Concludes the Chaf HaChaim, everyone saw the great miracle Hashem made for the Jewish people that year, and it caused many to believe in Hashem and divine providence. In Tzfas Yer HaKodesh, famously, unfortunately, in the year 1837, the 1st of January, a tremendously devastating earthquake occurred, estimated to be 6.8 on the Richter scale, which decimated the city and killed over 4,000 Jewish inhabitants. The Chassam Sofer in Sefer Torah Shmoshe attributed this in his hesped that he gave to the fact that Yidden at that time shunned living in Yerushalayim and rather chose to live in other areas such as Tzfas. And the shunning of the holy city is what caused the divine retribution. Certainly today, however, the great development of the city of Yerushalayim and the tremendous amounts of Torah and Chesed that exist in both cities will stand to protect both cities from any such events. Heaven forfend. And the current earthquakes that we experience are simply to remind us of Hashem's power, but not chas v'shalom in a negative way.
Thank you for listening to Shulchanaruchharav.com. Our free services of making Torah knowledge available to the public depends on donors like you. Please help us continue our work through making even a small contribution at Shulchanaruchharav.com under the Daily Halacha Dedication section or in the subscription page. Also, check out our online courses and many sefarim available for purchase that will both enhance your Torah knowledge and help support our work.